Mic check, mic check. Do you got me? Yeah, you do. The green light bulb. I lost a little fuzzy ball off this thing. I have a big ass cattail one. I'm gonna have to go. I keep the camera and electronic stuff up in the house in the office. I have to go up there and get another little wind protector ball. All right, let's get started. Actually, let's get started on some coffee. Okay, that's how this needs to go down. There's not guys in here just yet. What we got going on? The Harley Super Glide is going to need a primary chain adjustment, which won't take very long. And I noticed the other day when I was pulling into the garage that the white Electroglide directly in front of you has seemed to have found a screw in the back tire. The screw's not in very far, and it's actually bent over, kind of like like I picked it up on a road and it rode for a while in there. Doesn't appear to be leaking any air, but what we're about to do here is, oh boy, I got some Dawn dishwashing liquid and water mixed up. I'm going to spray it around the screw, see if we got any bubbles popping up, and if we don't, we might be good. We're going to go ahead and just try to pull that screw out of there and see, by God, do we got a tire that'll hold air. So we pull the screw out, and then we'll spray more soapy liquid around where the screw was. If it's not leaking, cool. If it is, we'll decide how we're going to address that. I've seen a lot of guys just use a regular car tire plug, and they had good results. You know, I don't know if I want to go that route. Those things can sometimes get pulled out. Usually on a motorcycle, you want to use a mushroom type plug. You actually have to break down the tire and rim and install the plug from the inside of the tire. That's the safest way to plug a motorcycle tire. This tire literally has, my God, under 2,000 miles on it. I would really like to, I'd really like to save it and not replace the tire. I mean, good quality tire for a touring bike like that's going to run you minimum $300. And honestly, I will have almost as much labor involved installing a actual mushroom plug than as I will installing a new tire, to be honest with you. But I hate to see things go to waste. I absolutely do. It's not my thing. So if I can, you know, number one, let's just hope that let's hope that the screw didn't go beyond the outer carcass of the tire. And all we got to do is just pull the screw out. Let's hope that's the case. And if it's not, let's hope we can get away with a mushroom plug or something, saving $300 and using up a tire that's got a whole lot of life left in it, basically. Get some stuff out of the way. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I kind of rearranged my shop a little. We're on this side of the shop where the TV, parts washer, press, all that bullshit is. It gives me a little less room inside my shop per se, but it does kind of, it makes it a little more convenient. You're sitting on a pretty sturdy workbench, and on the other side of the shop where I did have my tools, there is a workbench. It's nowhere near as sturdy as this. So this I kind of like better. Hey, what's up, Sandra Zungia? Nah, they ain't bad. It's just starting. It's like 9:30 in the morning over here near Pittsburgh. But anyways, I have a much sturdier workbench to work off of. My vise is right there. You know, and it's like, if I use this little thing as like a work bay, have the bikes up on the lift here, you know, I'm quicker to access the tools and a heavy duty workbench. Just seems to be a little better. So we're going to try this layout for a little. If I don't like it, we're going to move it back. Yeah, I can't even see that tire. What I'm going to do right now from the jump off is we're going to go ahead and put the bike up on the lift so that we can rotate the rear wheel. And that way, if I do decide to chance it and pull this screw out and it goes and the tire's flat, the bike is already on the lift. All right. The idea being is when a tire goes flat, that's that much more. Okay. It's going to be hard to get the lift under the bike. So if I got to pull this wheel because the tire has given up the ghost because of some idiot that dropped the screw, I'm already in position to do what I need to do with it. I should tag this Harbor Freight's lift in the shopping section, because for real, I believe I've had this thing since 2019, maybe 2020 at the most. And dude, this thing has lifted 1,000-pound GL 1500 fully laid out gold wings. I've used it on little dirt bikes. I mean, I got my money's worth out of this lift that was under $200. Sometimes they go on sale right around $100. Like, I really got my money's worth out of this little thing. Nope. I'm gonna move the machine forward a little. Takes a little bit of practice to use one of these. You got to get it centered just perfectly under the bike so that it lifts it up evenly like this. And this is a big, heavy machine going on here. See how she's kind of bending and twisting, but we're stable. I think we're only going to go up to the first notch. It'll be easier on my back if I go to the second. That's a little scary because this bike's heavy to lift that high on this lift. It's got a capacity of 1,500 pounds. And this bike's probably only about 850, 900. So we're plenty safe. Okay. Gently. She's on there. Let's walk away. I hate walking away from her when she's on the lift until you do this. Not everybody does this. I do it every time. When you use one of these particular, frame style center lifts, take your ratchet. Well, it don't even got to be a ratchet tie down. This is not a heavy duty tie down, not a ratchet style, but take your tie down and going across the bike in a crisscross style, like such. There's hooks on the lift to hook these. And just crisscross the bike in a couple of places. Like that. And it's just a little extra measure of safety for you. Kind of wanted to do Gettysburg Bike Week. Did not have the opportunity. Had a friend come up here to visit from West Virginia. I've known him, good God, since about 2014 or so. Met him on Facebook. And we never actually met. We were just Facebook friends. He lives pretty far down into West Virginia, about a 5-6 hour drive. He wanted to see Pittsburgh, so he came up here with his girlfriend, wife. I don't know if they're married, but they came up here for a little tour of the town. They stopped by the shop. They're not the kind of people that are camera. You know what I mean? They didn't want to be on camera, so that's why you really didn't see a lot of stuff yesterday. Just hung out with my buddy for a little bit and made a video on a new old microphone for the GoPro for my moto vlogs. Hopefully y'all watch that. We absolutely need a fan in here. I'm already starting to sweat. Maybe we don't need it on high because it'll mess with the audio. There we go. Definitely need some breeze happening. What we got here? Hey, what's up, Jason Stroman? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, here's where we're at. Primary chain adjustment on that. It's got a little more slop than I'd like to see. We might do that today. But the main thing is Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports. Yeah, AC at some point, but as of now, dude, costs enough to keep the lights on in here. Gas is not bad from that, but to air condition this shop, put it this way, if I did that, I'd actually have to take on more customers and put more money into this place for the 3 months that, you know what I mean? It might happen someday. Anyways, Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports will not ride that bike with me. She's afraid of it. It's rowdy. It's loud. It's got a built Evo. It's pissed. This is more of your comfy couch bike. She will ride this with me. And she's been bitching that I haven't been taking her riding. Well, I haven't rode it because maybe you can see it. There's a screw in the daggone back tire. And I don't know if it's actually leaking or not. I don't think it is. But what we're going to do is get it up into view here. And I got a little Dawn dishwashing liquid and water. I'm actually going to add a little more soap to this just to make sure it does what I want it to do. Put a little bit of palm olive. That's what I got. Dollar store dishwashing detergent to help wash my hands here. I use hand cleaner and shit, but it seems like it leaves behind like a gritty layer of film. You hit it with a little bit of dishwashing liquid afterwards and it gets all the shit off your hands the rest of the way. Where in the hell is my work light? I would like to turn it on. I don't know where I put it. Damn it. Where are you hiding from me, you son of a gun? I'll be able to see the bubbles. Hopefully you guys will too. The lighting situation is not really great for... We're not going to waste time looking for it. Hey, what's up, third door? All right, let's get you in here. Can you see? Hopefully you can see good enough. A little bit of extra light would be good, but it is what it is. We're not going to waste time looking for something that is only going to be on for a minute. Where are we at? It's like right in this tread here on this side. There it is. See here? Let's see what we got. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we got lucky. I don't really see any bubbles, nothing major. I think we definitely, the screw is probably this long. It's at an angle. It might have deflected off the carcass and went into the tread. I don't believe I'm that lucky though. I'm usually not. But you would be seeing big bubbles if it was leaking. I don't see any. Okay. Let's see, do I gotta... Let me grab over here. A little something to put down underneath that. Real quick. We drop down to floor level and see what I got to do to get that sucker out of there. I think we're going to start off with, let's grab a couple of pair of needle nose. Start off with that. See where that gets us. Maybe it'll be good enough. It's definitely not leaking at this point, though. It's kind of awesome. Oh, shit. One of my caster wheels has fallen out of my creeper again. I got to put Loctite on that thing. I have the JB weld the son of a gun in place, actually. I've gotten my mileage out of this cheap little creeper seat. It's called a Z creeper. It was a Christmas present from Phoenix Motorsports. And December till, where are we at here? 7 months. I have used this thing constantly. And it absolutely saves so much on my back. And it's a creeper. It really does a job well. I have found a light. This is where things might get ugly. Let me get up close to this thing. I can see exactly what we got here. I have a feeling this is going to turn ugly, and it's going to turn into pulling a back tire. I really don't want to do that today, but man, I think at the angle that it went in, I think it just went into the treads. Might really be lucky here. I'm trying to pull it at the same angle that it went in so that if it did glance up, it's not. You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. Yeah, that definitely penetrated the tire. Look at that. That's no good. Let's get something to mark that so that we know right where it's at. I'm going to be absolutely shocked if that doesn't leak air. As far in, I mean, it went in at an angle, but it was in there. What I'm going to do is take a Sharpie. I don't have chalk or a grease pen down here. But the idea is this tire has a white wall, and I know it's on this side of this tread, so I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to mark on the white wall and on the rim in case it gets rubbed off one or the other. Maybe you can see the Sharpie here too. Okay. Let's see here. Let's give her a little bit of, what do we got? Huh. I'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle. It was in like that, and how is it not leaking. How? Please explain to me how that is not leaking. Please explain that to me. I am truly freaking flabbergasted. You would see bubbles popping out of here, and you don't. I am freaking flabbergasted. I can't believe that is not leaking. Let me get a tire pressure gauge real quick. See how much pressure is in this tire. It don't feel flat. Holy crow, I'm behind on this. Proving. What kind of bikes do I have? I have a. Excuse me. I have a Harley Davidson Dyna Super Glide. I have a Harley Davidson 883 Sportster that has been converted to a 1200 Sportster. And I have a Harley Davidson Ultra Classic, and that's what you're looking at, the Harley Davidson Ultra Classic. Where in the devil is my tire gauge? It should be over here by the compressor. It is not. God dang it, Mildred. Where are you at? All right. Well, I have a little car tire compressor freaking doohickey. Wonder if it's up in the top junk drawer. It is. I was going to say, if all else fails, I have a little car tire compressor thing for in your trunk, and it's got a tire gauge built into it. Let's see. Let's get you over here. Maybe you can see a little better. Let's see what we're doing as far as tire pressure. I cannot believe that is not leaking. I have seen some shit in my day, but look, I'm gonna put the pliers to this. This was sunk into my tire this far, but it was in at an angle, so it went up the tread instead of into the tire carcass. The only thing that's going to make sense to me right now is if I see there is no pressure in this tire, and honestly, I don't believe that that's the case because the bike was parked on it and it wasn't sagging. What do we got here? 35 pounds of pressure, right where it should be. I'm shocked. I'm honestly, absolutely, completely shocked that we did not lose. That's wow, man. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Man, look. I had this bike up to 70 miles an hour on the ride home, and I was in a big hurry to get home from work that day and start working on the hot rod Sportster. You know, I had the parts in, and I'd planned on using that weekend to finish off installing the top end on that bike. So I was excited and in a hurry on the ride home, and I was hauling ass. I got home, I parked this. I left the house only to get stuff to eat and drink, and even cook that weekend. Devoted the whole weekend to converting that Sportster over with the big bore kit. When I got the Sportster up and running and took it for its first initial shakedown ride, I pulled up into the garage. That's an ugly bike. Well, you know what? I'm glad it's my bike and not yours, right, buddy? But yeah. And you can see how that's, let me get the camera to focus. That was in the tire up to about here. But it went in the tire at an angle and it went up into the tread. You know. What we got here? USS Liberty Continental Affair 69. Yeah, we got the Sportster, or we got the Dyna Super Glide. I'm not a fucking Dyna bro. Hemp oil, like for the engine, they I wouldn't doubt it, dude. They absolutely can make tons of stuff out of hemp. If they literally made engine oil from hemp, I wouldn't be shocked, man. I really wouldn't, because I believe, they make a ton of stuff. It is a very useful plant, dude. I mean, more than just freaking rope. Like I have, so my hands get torn up at work and torn up working here in the garage. My day job and my side project. I use a hand lotion made of hemp oil, and dude, it absolutely works great. Like, and it was cheap too. So if they made engine oil out of hemp, I would totally not be shocked. Would I use it? Me personally, like, I would like to see someone else use it and see how it performed for them before I actually dumped it in my bike. I'm like that, you know what I mean? Let somebody else be the guinea pig. But I mean, if other folks were using it and got a good result, yeah, I'd probably try it. I don't know. We got this is the Harley Twin Cam. We're running Lucas synthetic in this bike, and the older Evos. Growing 10 acres so I can run my tractors and never have to. Fucking right, dude. That's awesome, man. Overweight and underpowered. Yeah, this bike kind of is. What it is, though, is an absolutely comfortable couch. It's a cruiser. This is the kind of bike that you just jump on, and you sit back and you fly down the highway in absolute comfort. It's honestly one of the smoothest. And look, man, if you follow my channel, I'm a Goldwing guy, okay? I love my Honda Goldwings. I switched to one of these because I wanted to try them, and I understand what the Harley guys are saying. Definitely, this is the smoothest, most comfortable bike I personally have ridden on the highway. More so than a Goldwing. Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports will disagree with you. She liked the Honda Goldwing better. The seating area is a little more comfortable for her on a Goldwing. I took the big giant tour pack off. I have it under my workbench, and I just put a little sissy bar. The Goldwing, the tour pack is back further. The wheelbase is longer, and the tour pack on a Goldwing is not as heavy. The Harley's is really heavy duty, thick fiberglass. And with the tour pack, you really feel it, like maneuvering the bike around in a parking lot. It kind of sucks with the tour pack. I'm gonna be honest with you. With the tour pack, they're tricky, especially like me. I have a bad left knee, or if you're a little short. But taking that off transformed the way the bike handles and the way it feels, especially slow speeds and parking lots. I like it much better. But the Harley Davidson saga for me started with that Super Glide that we're gonna mess with in a little bit here. I wanted one noisy, badass Harley. And I had Goldwings in the fleet back then. I had a Yamaha Royal Star. I'm a metric bike guy at heart. That's what I've always had. That's what I've always messed with. Clapped out old metric bikes that no one else wanted. Yeah, I agree with you there. F the government. Free electricity, hand oil to the whole community, and we will be completely self-reliant. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Honda 919. Dude, those are sick. Absolutely badass bike. I mean, it's not for me, but ugliest bike and seat. Have you ever seen it? It's a blue 01. Believe it's the whole saddle and bag and windshield thing. Yeah, 01. That's kind of not the best year for these. The TC series engines in them actually are not a bad engine. That's what this is. Pretty much stock TC. You do have to upgrade the cam chain tensioners. You just do. Okay, spend the money, upgrade them, and then you never have to touch them again. But I've seen these with over 200,000 miles just ticking along and going absolutely fine. Once the cam chain tensioner has been upgraded, you change your oil when you're supposed to change it. Take care of your bike. People hot rod these things out, and sometimes, like, look, when Harley Davidson builds something, they build it to be tough. That's why a lot of these bikes ended up being police bikes. This platform, this is the Ultra Classic, but the frame and engine, and most of what you're because I know some run BMW, and up until I think 05, some will still run the Kawasaki platform, but these engines are built with horsepower left in them. In other words, they could be a lot more than what they are, but they're built to be serviced and run for extremely long periods of time, to be rebuilt over and over and over. Like I have a short video. I spoke to a gentleman last summer with one of these that had over 100,000 miles, and the only thing he did was what I did. You go inside here and put in a hydraulic cam chain tensioner and get rid of the stock factory spring tensioner, and you're golden. Was it Bikes and Beards? Sean from SRK Cycles, Sean Kerr, just recently picked up one of these. I think his was a 01 or 02, and he bought it because I think it had like 220,000 miles on it. He picked it up, instantly rode it 400 miles to a Harley shop near where his base is. I think they're in Tennessee, and had them tear it down just to see, has it been rebuilt, etc. From what the guys said, it looked like a Harley gasket. From their Harley tech, according to them, they're like 99% sure that engine is original, was never torn down, never rebuilt. Dude, you could still see cross hatching in the cylinders. Now they didn't open the cover. Okay, look at here. Transmission fluid is full. It's absolutely clear, crystal clean. No reason to change it or do anything with it. I'll wipe this off before I put it back. Transmission oil, I should say. I didn't put a lot of miles on this bike. I have been really, really, really busy this summer. But since this is on the lift, I figured we would check this. You check the oil on this machine. You need to do it on the side stand, not standing up. The transmission fluid needs to be checked with the machine standing up, but the actual engine oil needs to be done with the machine on its side stand. We're not going to worry about that right now. I looked at the air filter about 200 miles ago. We were absolutely fine then. There's no point in tearing that off to look at it and find out that it's going to be fine for another year. Any vehicle after the year 2000. I hear you, dude. Hold on, man. I'm behind on this. 64 Triumph. Absolutely badass, dude. Love me some old Triumphs. Series G. What's up, brother? Right? Look, I don't know. Here's the deal with me, okay? When it comes to that, I looked at actually, this was the around probably September of 2025. I was at a dealership, and we're doing a motorcycle event and ride for veterans. Okay, OVN. It helps families of fallen veterans, and it helps guys that have served our country and seen combat. And it's a charity ride. You pay money to go on the ride, and at the Harley dealership, they have all kinds of stuff. It's a cool time. Check it out. If you're in Pennsylvania, Z&M does it every year. It's called the OVN Veterans Ride. But anyways, I was there with my buddy, and I was looking at hey, what's up, Mike Mitchell? Bunch of, easy guys. Are you looking to buy any old 1970 Yamaha through Suzuki? If you have a Yamaha XS 650 twin cylinder, get a hold of me on Facebook Messenger if you're local to my area. I just might take one of them off your hands. I just might. Well, anyways, what I'm getting after is I like the Road Glide because the fairing isn't mounted to the handlebars like this. It's mounted to the frame. They're cool looking with the shark nose. I dig it. The Milwaukee 8 performs like crazy, dude. If you do something as simple as a tuner and a set of pipes, those things are rowdy. They just are. They run, right? But here's what I didn't like about it. When I looked at the dash, I see a big freaking screen. It's just a personal thing. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's not. I like these chrome bezels right here. And I understand these are electronically controlled. This with the, I think it's called the TPS transmission, or TSP transmission speed sensor. So I had to replace that on this bike. And they're all electronically controlled pretty much for the most part. But I like to look at a round gauge. I like the aesthetics. I like how that looks, man. I don't want to look at a computer screen. It's just a personal thing to me. It harkens back to the vintage days. I dig that era. I dig the way things look. It like even this setup here, I like this better than a lot of your soft tails where they have the speedometer right here in the gas tank. I don't like looking at my nuts when I see how fast I'm going. I like to just glance down off the road and see that. So I like this setup. The Road Glide didn't have that, and it's enough for me to say, I'm not going to buy that $30,000 motorcycle because I don't like it. And really, man, I just don't. That's what it is. Ooh, you're in Oklahoma, dude. That's a little too far for me to travel to pick up a motorcycle. It really is. Sorry on that one. But check out the channel because I've been in the market for a while and it's a back burner idea. The aesthetics of that bike is cool. It's essentially a British bike made more reliable. I dig the old Brit bikes. I'm not super into them. I love the way they look. They're getting pricier and pricier. Parts are harder and harder to find. In fact, the guy who initially sold me that blue Sportster has got a really badass Triumph Bonneville turned into a hardtail chopper. It's cool. I am personally too big to ride a hardtail Triumph chopper with a long Springer fork. I could maybe putt it around town, but I'm not going to enjoy it. But to get like a project going here for the shop and maybe build something cool out of one, I would love to find. It would have to be clapped out. I mean, first of all, because if it's in good shape, it's a classic bike. I don't believe in modifying. I mean, you do what you do. It's your bike. It's your money, right? But me personally, I'm not going to modify a classic bike that's in good shape. I'm going to leave it the way it was. Somebody might want to restore it because someday you're not going to be able to find those anymore. Case in point, any flathead Model K Harley Sportster. Well, they weren't a Sportster, they were the Model K, but case in point, you don't find them. XLCHs that were stock factory condition, you don't find them. But if it's clapped out, beat up, and looks like crap already, I have no problem with modifying the hell out of it. So that's been a back burner idea for me for quite some time to mess with something like that. And someday we just might. Gently let this machine down off the lift. Touch down. Make sure the kickstand's out. And what I do, I take my foot, I kick the lift out from under it before I lay the bike over on its side. Pretty sure it clears on this bike, but a whole lot of them, you lay it over on its side and it'll bind up on the lift. All right, cool. So we're going to do one more thing. Analog gauges on the Batwing fairing as well. Yeah, I dig it, man. I like the Road Glide's frame mounted fairing. I do. I really do like that. But I like analog gauges. I just do. Like maybe an older Road Glide is what I need to look for. Something that's got a 103. Is this essentially, other than the cam plate, this is essentially a stock machine. I mean, there's no performance upgrades to this engine. It has like 53,000. I bought this bike basically to enjoy with Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports because she likes a big, comfortable tour bike when we go out riding, and I decided I wanted to run another Harley rather than a Gold Wing. Where are we at? Plenty of oil, and it's still super clean. I really didn't put very many miles on this bike this year. I've been a little too busy, but we're making money, baby. That's what it costs to start a business and make money. It costs a lot of your free time and enjoyment. The 2014 twin cam 103 Street Bob was an amazing runner. Let me switch this around. Yeah, I mean, for now, this bike does everything I absolutely need it to do. Oh, God, she's heavy. We do need to check the air pressure in the front tire, but it doesn't need to be on the lift for that. Let me get it backed up here and out of the way real quick. And then we'll check the tire pressure on the front. Needs to be moved a little more backwards so I can get to the Schrader valve. Yeah, for now, this bike does absolutely everything I need it to do. And I'm happy with it. And there's a pretty cool story behind it. And if you follow the channel, I'm sure you already know the story. There we go. The story behind this particular machine here, it was owned by a firefighter, and he was very good friends with a very good childhood friend of mine, my good buddy Jeff. Jeff was he's now retired. He's a fire chief here in McKeesport for a long time. Great freaking dude, man. Awesome dude. Well, I had an accident. I think it was May the 3rd, maybe May the 5th of 2025. And I was riding a Yamaha Royal Star Venture that I had acquired in some horse trading. Didn't have very much money into the bike, but was worked on by a feller who really wasn't much of a motorcycle mechanic. He wasn't much of a mechanic. He was just a good old boy. Great guy. I liked him. Really great guy. But he's kind of unexperienced when it come to working on motorcycles, and he did the best he could, but the bike had some issues that were not properly addressed. So I got her pretty cheap. And I fixed it up. What we got here? Never heard or seen a Fireball voices or welding jig tables. Do it yourself favor and go check them out. They're made in America. Fucking right. Fucking right. You talking about a welding table or a table lift for a bike? Because I can weld, okay? But when I weld something, it looks like Ray Charles did it with his feet. Like, I can stick metal to metal, but I'll never call myself a welder. I do want to get a little MIG welder here, just for little things like making brackets and stuff, and welding up exhaust and stuff. But man, I wouldn't. You don't want me welding your motorcycle frame. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm not very good at it. And I'd rather let someone else who knows what they're doing do it. But I figured if I got another, I've had a couple of welders over the years, just the little buzz boxes from Harbor Freight. I figured if I got another one, maybe over the winter and I had time to practice, maybe I could practice and get better at it. Anyways, back to the story of this machine. Like I said, I only had like $400 into that Royal Star venture, just making it reliable as a reliable road going rig. And Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports loved that bike. I liked it better in the Goldwing because it had more power, it was faster, and it sounded cooler. V4 with some open pipes, it had Bubs exhaust. I really liked it. I was actually filming a moto vlog and a lady ran a red light, knocked me off the bike. We weren't going real fast, but it was enough that my shoulder was sore for a week. Thank God I had a full face helmet or I'd have busted my head and face up. But I got paid pretty good for that. Took a couple of 3 weeks to check in and everything, but I got substantially compensated for that. And in the meantime, we were about to buy this place, and I had a substantial amount of money saved up for down payment and closing costs. I was kind of pissed. You took out my touring bike. It's going to be a few weeks before I get the check. So I kind of, unbeknownst to Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports at the time, who was influential in me getting this, I couldn't do this without her. She's the brains of the operation here. I dipped into that fund and I picked this bike up. I think $4,700 cash. That's all I paid for this. It just the way it sits. And I bought it from the firefighter's widow. The man around my age, he unexpectedly passed away of a heart attack, and I bought this from his widow, and that's why I've never changed it. I've never modified it. I'm not going to. This is exactly how he had it. This was his dream bike. He was a big fan of that whatever dude from movies and comics, Deadpool. And he had a custom license plate, said Deadpool. At the original windshield, I did take it off because I didn't like the windshield he had. It said Harley Pool across it. There's still a little Deadpool sticker on the fork over here. The tour pack has a Deadpool logo, and I never changed that. The guy's name was Fred. This was his dream machine, and he made it to be just the way he wanted it. He wanted like a Deadpool bike, and I never changed that, and I'm not going to. Just to keep, the man still lives through his bike. And this old dirty biker that keeps it alive, keeps it running, keeps it maintained. So each and every machine I have tells a story, And if they don't tell much of a story, then I'll modify them. Where are we at? Right on the nose, 35 pounds. Okay, so we don't need to add any air to the tires. We've checked the fluids. She's good to go for a ride. Being as Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports is kind of cranky and yelling that I don't do nothing but work in a shop, I think we're going to take this old girl out for a cruise later. I don't know where. If nothing else, we're just going to go get some ice cream somewhere. I don't know, but I can't believe that screw came out of the tire and it's not leaking. Man, all I can say is, thank you. Thank you, Lord Jesus, or the flying spaghetti monster, whatever it is up there that you pray to. I know who I pray to. I don't care who you do. What do I do full time? I work for a contractor in a steel mill. I operate a roll-off dumpster truck. I move dumpsters full of scrap steel around in a steel mill, and steel making byproducts like water treatment facility sludge, I haul that to the landfill. Things like there's actually 3 steel mills in my area. One of them isn't really a steel mill. They produce stuff to make steel called coke. Coke is basically coal that has been baked in a giant oven until it's down to its element, which is pure carbon. That is added to molten iron along with limestone to produce steel. And where I live, we have 3 plants. One plant makes big steel slabs that are rolled out into basically sheet metal at another plant. And at the head of it all, at the beginning of the One River, is the coke plant. When they bake that coal into coke like that, it produces a gas. That gas fuels the other two plants. It all works into conjunction together. Okay, the plant that produces the gas sends the gas to one plant to fire the furnaces. It also goes to the other plant where the slabs are made, and it's used to produce electricity down there that powers all three plants. It's kind of a cool system. But yeah, I've done that off and on since like 2011. Hey, thanks for the star, man. Thanks for the gold coin. Kenny G. Yeah, I've been doing that for a while. I went to work in the trash industry for a while, doing basically moving roll-off dumpsters from construction sites to landfills, you know, that type of thing. And we did compactors for stores like Walmart, you know, the trash compactors. It's not that I didn't like that work. I did. It was fun. But I don't know. Like, look here. The United States Steel Urban plant, that was my grandfather's initials. When he passed away, I had that done to remind myself. He worked there for 44 years. And it's kind of in my blood. It's kind of the steel industry and local industries around here are a bit of a family tradition. So it was a hard decision, honestly, to go. So I liked the company I worked for in the trash industry. In fact, I still talk to the owner and his son all the time. They're supporters of the channel. They watch my stuff. And the owner of the trash company is quite a businessman. And he'd even mentioned when I told him what I wanted to do here, if I ever wanted, he would sit down with me and kind of help guide me through as far as starting my own business. But I do believe that our business model ideas are not exactly the same. He is an awesome dude. He knows how to start a business from scratch. He knows how to make money. I don't particularly do this to make money. Like what I make out of my shop here, you know, it pays for these bikes. It pays for camera equipment, you know, that type thing. And we're not going to go, you know what, maybe we should go to the next one because it'll be a lot easier to get to everything if we're on the next level up. It's freaking lift makes me nervous when it's way up in the air like that. Good, we hear the clank clank. Okay. What we got here? Can we reach everything easily? Yes, that's good enough. I'll show you guys what I'm doing in just a minute. Let me secure this machine down real quick. I've recently adjusted the clutch on this bike. And we also, get in there. Adjusted the clutch. We changed out the primary case oil. And honestly, the primary chain's probably okay, but it's at the end of the adjustment. Like it should adjust it up a little tighter to my liking, you know, just to be safe. So while we have the time, well, shoot, that ain't gonna work, is it? I forgot. Let me show you what's going on over here. So while we have the time, we have the lift out, and there's going to be some bikes showing up here that I got to work on. That some of them, one of them I know for a fact is going to make it onto the YouTube channel. It's a bike that I had initially bought, got back to life, and made a bunch of YouTube videos with. Sold it to someone. They rode it for a little. I knew the kid wasn't going to be into it or keep it. I could just tell he was a young kid. Wasn't somebody that was going to do the antique Goldwing thing. And I even told him that. I'm like, bud, he's watching videos by like Shade Tree Surgeon who took the 1980s Goldwing across country. I'm like, bud, that's on TV, bud. I mean, you can do that, but that's on TV, okay? In real life, it doesn't always work out like that. Like Josh got pretty lucky doing that. He didn't even know how to set the air suspension on that bike, and he rode it across country like that with no air in the rear suspension. Like, holy shit, dude. You're a lucky man. But I don't think the kid did that with it. I got it in good enough condition that you could just jump on it and ride it anywhere locally. And I did. And I needed it gone because I'd already bought a older 1500 to, work on the channel and stuff here. I sold it to the kid. He enjoyed it for a little bit, I suppose. And I'm thinking he sold it to somebody else. I honestly don't know. But I know it wasn't his name on the post with the thing for sale. Another one of my viewers, you've seen his bike in my lives. It was a little Kawasaki 250 Ninja. He wanted a bigger bike. He said he liked the Goldwing. So when I seen that old one come up for sale, I messaged him and sent it to him. I'm like, dude, absolutely go buy this. I worked on this bike. Like, you're going to get a good bike if you buy this. I don't know what they did to it. Whatever they did, I can undo if it's wrong. But you absolutely are going to get a good bike if you buy this machine. Well, lo and behold, he did. And he's a very busy man that works a lot of overtime. So it didn't get a lot of ride time. Let me flip around. Why they have the long leather tassels on them, I don't know. Those things are retarded. I don't do those. It's not my thing. Some people like them. No. Yeah. My Royal Star Venture came with those on the bars and on the levers, and that was the first thing I did was take them off. I don't like them. I like the leather covers that they were attached to on the clutch and brake lever. That was kind of cool. But the long tassels were retarded. We promptly took a razor knife and just cut them off. Kept the leather covers. Ran it like that until some dummy ran a red light and took that bike away from me. Okay. Man, it's getting warm in here, ladies and gentlemen. Mama's wanting to say I'll do this another day, but we're in it, so let's do it. It's been needing done. That was held for review. What do we got? Somebody being a smart ass or what? It's probably not. Oh, Jake Browser. Do I feel that way? No. But why are you talking that way? It's 2026, bro. There's a door on the closet. You can open it and come out. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to show your comment because, well, we're not about that kind of shit here. Have a nice day, buddy. Anyways. Yeah, you don't have to hide the comments, dude. People talk shit on the internet all the time. It's the internet's for sometimes, I think. I don't care. I'm used to it. But what I find hilarious is the fact that folks talk shit in a place like the internet where someone can't, you know, extract your teeth with knuckles. That's when someone talks crap. That's cute. That's quite cute. See, I'm a real world type of dude. If I got something to say to you, I'm gonna say it to your face, and if we're gonna fight, we're gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? That's how things are handled where I'm from and where I grew up. So I generally don't talk smack online like some folks do. What am I doing? Those are not even Allen bolts. Those are flipping. What do you call them? Torques, star keys, torques, etc. Got a little something for that right there. And we're gonna need some standard size, a standard size Allen key, I believe of 5/32. I think that's what size this is. Gotta take this little cover off here. It's smaller than 5/32 now, isn't it? Got the T handle, so maybe I can get it out with a T handle. For some reason, I think I was having trouble with it last time. Eighth inch? Yeah, eighth inch. It shouldn't be that tight. See, this bike originally, the shifter would have come out through here, but because it has forward controls, the shifter shaft is still there, and it has to be. We just have a little, no, FXD Super Glide. I wish it was an FXR, really do. FXR had a better frame, they handle better, everything else. But FXRs have become unobtainium as far as price-wise. Like, they're super cool and all, but it's still an Evo. Like, I think you're a little crazy asking 13, 14 grand for a clean one, you know, because for that kind of money, I could buy a modern twin-cam road glide and put a narrow glide front end on it and some modern forks that are going to handle better, and I can make a modern FXR potentially 130 horsepower, reliable horsepower. And that's been on the back burner too. That's something we might do, build a twin cam FXR. Because it's basically a Road King or Electric Glide style frame. And they use that frame for a long ass time. If you bought a Road King, you know what I'm saying? You could do it with an Ultra like, you know, like mine, but by the time you strip everything down, you would be better, in my opinion, to buy a Road King. It's a little less electronics and everything else. But yeah, you'd be better off buying a Road King and going that route with it, and taking a Road King and stripping her down, and building yourself an FXR that way. Which, gotta say, the idea of it's kind of enticing. Like, maybe someday we'll do that. 74 iron head chop, badass, man. 01 Geezer Glide. Yeah, well, we got a 05 Geezer Glide back there. That's what was on the lift before this. We were checking things. Dude, you can't fault somebody for riding them as far as comfort. They are the most, like, my opinion, one of the most comfortable, nimblest touring bikes you can get. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to be blatantly honest with you guys. I've never ridden a BMW touring bike. I've always wanted to. I've never had the opportunity to swing a leg over one and take it for a ride. So I can't say they're the best because I never rode one, you know. But as far as what I have ridden across the spectrum of metric touring bikes, yeah, I like the American touring bikes better than I like metric touring bikes. I feel like they're more comfortable, more pleasing to ride. I like them better. Okay, if you're going to open this window, the long bolt, that's right up here at the top. Remember that. I will, because I've done this enough times. Shorter ones in the bottom. Side ones, I believe, are short ones too. Now, bottom and the back are long ones. We're also going to have to pull the spark plugs out of this engine to do this. Ah, yeah, dude. I used the Goldwing 1500 as a work commuter for one season. And then we ended up going, I was able to sell it, and I got that Yamaha Venture. I liked the Venture better just because it sounded cooler, had more horsepower, everything else. It was more exciting to ride than the Wing. So we sold the Wing and went to riding the Venture as a daily commuter, which it was great, but somebody totaled it, and we ended up with the Electric Glide as a commuter, and it works great for it. What do we got here? Got someone else talking shit. Yeah, right. Why would they hold that for review, dude? I think American bikes are more comfortable because they are made to hold our fat asses. You're fucking right, they are. And look, I'm fat and I say it in all the videos. Why would YouTube hold that for review? I don't know. We're going to show that. No. Okay, YouTube's moderator automatically because you said fat ass. That's kind of dumb, but that's how they do things. Whatever. Who am I to argue with the wisdom of whoever it is that controls the control on this stuff? Sometimes this thing will want to fight you coming off. You got a few different options. You kind of got to get behind it with something and pry and wiggle, or you can sometimes take like a rag like such so that you don't score it up and get your channel locks. You know, just put a rag over it with your channel locks like that, and sometimes you can get it this way. Nope, it's not going to want to go. You basically got to fart around and pry this thing off a little bit at a time. You guys probably can't see it because the crappy phone camera's not going to pick it up, but see what I'm doing? I'm putting pressure on this shaft, and I'm just kind of gently wiggling it up and down with a screwdriver back and forth. I'm sure there's a professional way of doing this, but this works. I've done it a bunch of times this way. Just real gentle like that until you can get it out near the end and get your fingers on it. And just kind of get her off the shaft with your fingers. Not impossible. Like I said, I'm sure there's a proper tool to do this with, but that has worked for me for a very long time. Okay, we know there's fresh oil in here. We know it's to the correct level because we just did it recently. Wipe this off. And we're going to have to pull the spark plugs out because to do this right, you need to rotate the engine over. Okay. So that takes a different size than the Sportster. I thought they took the same plug. Never mind on that one. think it takes an 18 millimeter. Plug wrench. No, I don't. All right, so I guess we'll just let's get the freaking plug wrenches out, won't we? Okay, what the hell we got? 13/16. That's why. All right. Plug looks like shite. This bike hasn't done anything. Can't read what that says. Something with an H. Harley Davidson? Yeah, this is a Harley Davidson Dyna Super Glide FXD. FXD is the whole model number. And the cool thing about this emblem, this is a 1 year only 1959. I don't know if this is original or a remake. I'm guessing it's probably a remake badge. This is not from this bike. It's not original. It's 100% not original. Okay, that is why I always use the wrench. The goddamn petcock's in the way. Oh, you devil. Do I have another 13/16 plug wrench that's shorter than that gets around that? I haven't pulled the plugs in this bike in quite some time. Okay, got this one. I think it's about the same size, though. Yep, that's going to do the same daggone thing. All right, give me a second here, folks. We got to reevaluate our life decisions for a second. Haven't pulled the plugs in this bike in quite some time. Honestly, I don't remember. Yeah, I do, actually. I remember taking the damn plugs out with a wrench. And I can't find my 13/16 open-end wrench. Yeah, no, I don't do the Harley clone bikes. I used to. And you know what? Some of them are pretty cool. Some of your metric bikes and stuff are really cool. But not my bag anymore. I switched over to Harley Davidson, and I like their machines. I ride their machines. It is what it is, folks. It is what it is. Definitely need a new 13/16 wrench, or I just got to actually dig around and find mine. Trying to do things quick is not always the best way to do them. There it is. carbon in your threads. You don't want to turn by hand, huh? Turns super easy with a wrench, but it's just a little too boogered to get out with just my fingers. This bike has done nothing more but start up and idle for a little bit. This entire season, I put maybe 10 miles on this bike this season. I love this machine, but I don't really get... I have 3 Harleys, so Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports will not ride this bike. And it is entirely too loud and belligerent and pissed off for me to ride to work. So it doesn't get ridden that often. Let's see here. Okay, you want less than 7/8 of an inch free play. Okay, I'm pushing up and down on this. It's really impossible to measure this unless you take this cover off. Take it off, you could put a ruler beside it and measure it. I don't have the gasket to take this off. If I do take it off, I'm not going to reuse the gasket. This bike leaks just the tiniest bit of transmission oil from the one seal. So what we're going to do is do this by feel. I'm pushing on the primary chain to feel how much it's moving. We got about a 1/2 inch. I'm going to turn the motor over by putting the bike in top gear with the spark plugs out. I'm going to rotate the engine a few degrees. Like that. And we're going to reach back in here, put our fingers on the chain and feel it. Because there are tighter and looser spots with these things, so you can't just check it in one position. You got to rotate it a few times, like I just did, and check it in a few positions. Yeah, it's definitely tighter here. It's still within spec. 3/8 to 7/8 is what you want. It doesn't need tightened up, but it's close to. It's close to the outer edge. We're just going to keep rotating it and checking it. Yeah, that's not bad. That's serviceable. I rotate it a little more and check it in a couple more spots. You hear that? When I'm doing that? Yeah, right? This motor has compression. She runs strong. Okay, we're going to rotate one more time, checking in one more place, and I'm going to call that good. And we're going to button that back up. Yeah, we're 100% going to call that good. That doesn't need to go any further than it just did, but we checked it. Yeah, I thought Harley only made clothes too, because I don't know, dude. When I was growing up, 80s and 90s, there was a term, RUB, rich urban biker. When this bike was new in 1995, you couldn't just go to the Harley Davidson dealership and buy one. You had to get on a waiting list. And it could take up to a year sometimes to get a bike, and it wasn't that easy to get them. And your old school guys weren't really buying these. You might have a couple here and there that saved their beans, was like, I could finally buy that new bike, but When I grew up, most of your Harley guys were grizzled old buggers with gray beards, that rode old shovel heads and bikes like that. And O-ring on this here seal. I'm going to feel this and make sure there's no burrs. There's not. And what we're going to do is dip our finger into the primary oil like that. Okay. I'm going to swipe it around inside here like this and get this wet and get the seal wet with oil, so that when you shove this over top, also going to clean this gasket area. When you shove this over top of this O-ring, it's not going to peel the O-ring and tear it, and it's going to go straight in where it needs to be. See how much easier that goes now? Okay. And let's get our little rubber persuader. Just gently, we're not even using the head of the hammer. Just gently work that over into place. Remember, the long one went here. The long one went here. The two short ones went right here. But yeah, I definitely, in the next week or so, I'm definitely going to take this bike and we're going to make some videos with it. Some ASMR riding videos. Might do one moto vlog from this bike, but let's face it, I mean, we have some sweet Evo sound. I mean, this bike sounds absolutely badass when you ride it. I don't know, but that typical high compression engine crackle when you get on the fuel and off the fuel. And just of all the bikes that I've owned, this one sounds the coolest. I think we might film one ASMR video where we're just going to ride this thing through town. And honestly, I think I might ride it through the rough section of town across the river just to do it. It's kind of funny, people walking around. Sometimes there'll be some drug zombies walking around, and when you rip by them and you burr like that and shift gears, they it scares the hell out of them. It's kind of great. With the ape hangers, this is not a bike you really fly through the twisties on. This is more of a cruiser. You ride around and look cool. Look cool, feel cool, sound cool. If you really want to wind her up and red light to red light, boy, she responds and she gets up to speed quickly. It's not a bike you want to go 150 miles an hour on. It's one you want to go like 80, 90. And it gets there very quickly. And that's one of the reasons why I love this machine. For what I do with it, I mean, I just couldn't ask for anything any better. Really couldn't. Now, let's see here. Let me clean my hands up. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. I bought myself one of these butthole scoping cameras. This guy here. And I wanted to take a look down these cylinders for quite some time. I got the opportunity to do it now. Hopefully this is still charged up good enough. The endoscope. Yep, it is. Well, let's take a look in the cylinder. See what we see. Yes, sir. We see a flat top piston. And we see a good bit of cross hatching left. Sweet. I haven't had the opportunity to do this with this tool just yet. Okay, I think if you long press this button, you get I want to turn the side camera on. Maybe it's this button. There it is. Let's turn the side camera on and let's look at the cylinder wall. There's your exhaust valve. And we've got some good cross hatching left in that cylinder. Look at that. I'm sorry, guys. Cool. Badass. I don't know. I've always wanted to do that. So. We turn this off. Yeah, it's bugged at me because I've wanted to do that for quite some time. Okay, so where we're at now. Wait, I'm farting around and I'm forgetting something. I have to put this little cap back on. Where we're at now, before we put the spark plugs back in, I'm just going to clean them up with some brake clean real quick. They are carboned up from basically, I fire this bike up once every couple of weeks. It doesn't get ridden. And I have the idle mixture just a tickle on the rich side so that the bike runs cooler at red lights and in traffic. So the plugs have just a little carbon on them. What we're going to do is find a wire brush that I probably don't have. It should be in this box here, this red box. And it's not. God damn it. Okay. So then this box. Yeah, it's not. God dang it, where's it at? I got a small wire brush. What for? To clean up them plugs a little bit. I wonder if it should be in this cabinet here. For some reason, I felt like it was in that box. Well, we got this, and this will work just fine. Sometimes you just got to make do with what you got, right? Right. Little carburetor cleaner. And, well, since I can't find a wire brush I wanted, we'll go ahead and use this friggin' wire wheel. You know, it'll work just fine. And a rag on it so we can grab it without spining the hell out of ourselves. And we'll take each plug, give them just a little shot carburetor cleaner like that. We're just cleaning the heavy carbon off of it. I'm not going nuts. It's like I said, she was fired up and run on choke a few times just to move fuel around in the bike. So before we put the plugs back, why not take, you know, just a couple seconds and clean them up a little. It's not going to help too much, but it's certainly not going to hurt anything. There you go. And dig this. Yeah, I run NGK spark plugs. I run Japanese spark plugs in my Harleys. The Sportster has auto lights, of all things, but listen, guys. Most of your fucking spark plugs are made in China. They just are. Okay, might have an American name on them. Most of them are made in China. Okay, of the two, if I have a choice, I will take something made in Japan over something made in China any day of the week. I just feel you're getting better quality. So, before I buy a spark plug that's made in China, I will buy one that's made in Japan. And well, NGK is made in Japan. So that's the name of that tune. I would rather run a Japanese plug than a Chinese plug. And I do believe Harley Davidson spark plugs are made by Autolite. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't done all the research because honestly, I don't care. I do believe Autolites is who makes Harley Davidson's plugs for them. I don't know. I know that when I wanted to replace the plugs in the Sportster, because when I was tuning the carb, I filed the crap out of them because the carb was way out of whack when I got the bike. So I wanted fresh plugs in it. And O'Reilly's near me had the Autolites in stock, and that's what I bought because that is what is in stock. Okay, folks, look. Been doing this for a long time. Let me tell you something. Certain things ain't worth stressing over. Okay? That off-brand spark plug, maybe it won't last as long. But if your engine's tuned right, spark plugs installed properly, it's going to be just fine. Okay? Trust me, it's going to be just fine. Especially on an older engine like this. Modern engine, totally completely computerized bullshit. Yeah, you might want to think about it a little. Older engine like this, it doesn't matter that much. Folks go a little over the top with it. And hey, it's your machine, and if that's what you want to do with it, do it and have your fun. But it's honestly not really necessary. Okay. I was always under the impression HD plugs are rebranded. They might be, Champion, dude. I might be saying that wrong for real. I just might be. They might be, Champion. I don't know. I know they're basically a rebranded plug that we've all used. I could be wrong by saying they're rebranded Autolites and they're actually I could be. They might be. And honestly, they just probably are. I know back in the day in the 90s, Champion was one of the cheapest spark plugs you can get. I can remember them being on sale for 49 cents. One of my vehicles, I think it was I had a 79 Power Wagon around 1996, 1997. And I can remember replacing spark plugs in that old 360 that was in it. And I used Champions because they were literally... Okay. We've got the precision torque wrench, You just feel when it's the right torque. Yeah. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, they were literally 49 cents a plug. And I was a high school student that did carpet work and moved furniture in the summers and bagged groceries in the winter and during the school year. So I didn't have much money in Champions what I used because they were freaking 49 cents a plug. But they worked. They worked great. Ran fine. Just was rotting and falling apart, and Hillbilly Bob did the wiring on it before I got it, and I didn't really know what I was doing too good back then to really fix it properly. And the truck was a turd. I loved it, but it was a turd. Didn't last too long. Caught on fire on me twice. Transmission blew up once. She was pretty rotten too. I loved that truck. Okay. Well, I feel confident right now that I just looked at two things. I cleaned the plugs up. Didn't really need done, but I did it. And I double checked that primary chain. I don't know why in my brain I felt like it was at the outer end of adjustment. But when I changed the primary oil in this bike, I remember, and there's a live on it a couple of months ago, I remember feeling the primary chain tension, just with my finger and thinking to myself, hey man, that's pretty loose. You better check it properly. And then I also remember thinking, hey dude, you got shit to do. Get it done. People paying you to work on their bikes. So I just kind of shoved this bike in a corner. Didn't go any further into it than that. And well, here we are. Like two and a half months later, wanting to take this bike for a ride, but also wanting to, hey, let's double check this, because as you can tell, I really love this bike. And don't ride it often, kind of because I love it that much. It's a whole different experience riding this thing. So we've checked it, and we know it's good. And we know we can take it out and beat the shit out of it, and it'll be fine. Just did a 3-hole oil change on this thing in that video. And judging by the fact that there's nothing laying on the ground, didn't leak anything, didn't use anything. Let's get her down off the lift. The Sportster has received pretty much all the motorcycle mechanic love it can get for now. I've dedicated this freaking channel to that bike. I swear I've dedicated this channel to that bike for the last month and a half, since I decided I was going to do more than just beat the shit out of it and actually convert it to 1200 and, tune it and ride it. It does need a little more love. The rocker box seal up kit I got only came with top seals. I was not aware until after I bought it that you needed to order it only came with top push rod seals. Okay. I was not aware when I bought it that you needed to order the bottom seals for the push rod tube separately. So I reused them because I wanted to ride the bike. Well, come on, you bugger. We have one of them that is leaking. Not profusely, but enough that she blows a little oil on the side of the motor. And when you park the bike, it leaves a couple of drips of oil. Not the end of the world, but it bothers me. So, oh, you devil. Tuesday, those seals will be in. And I have not yet decided whether or not I am going to do a camshaft swap on that machine. And if I do a camshaft swap, we will 100% have to take the push rod tubes and the top end, not quite into the cylinder, but the valve train's going to have to come apart to do the cam swap. So that's when we'll replace those seals. So in the next few weeks here, I got to put miles on the Sportster, get it up to its 500 miles where I can really ring it out, and decide whether I'm going to spend the money and the time in actually putting swapping out to a high performance cam. And once I hit 500 miles, I'll make my decision. I think I'm probably just going to leave it the way it is and change it aesthetically. I think I want to put put the camera on the bike I'm actually talking about. I think I want to put a longer front end on it, maybe a 4-inch extended front end. And I don't know about the seat. Depends on what I can find. I am not spending $500 to $600 on a seat, like a Saddleman seat. I really like them, but if I cannot find one used for, let's say, under 200 bucks, we're going to use the stock seat because it's doing its job just fine. I really like the king and queen seat with the sissy bar, and I feel like I have a set of lowering shocks. I feel like if I lower the rear with the lowering shocks, I put a 4-over front end on it, that king and queen seat with a sissy bar will look badass, and that just might have to happen, but they are also 500 bucks. So I'm still scanning eBay to try to find a used one. Arizona. I'm not in Arizona. I am near Pittsburgh. The channel name is Phoenix Motorsports because I make old dead motorcycles rise from the ashes and ride again. Mainly I work on old metric bikes for folks that can't afford a regular shop. And if I can use them in a video here, I discount my hourly rate quite a bit for them. And I have a day job. This is my spare time gig that I make extra money. My personal fleet is Harley Davidson. I generally don't work on them. I generally work on metric bikes in the videos that I do here. It's just a personal thing for me. Like, I see one too many people that dream about riding a motorcycle, but can't afford a new one. And they're a little afraid to buy an older beat up one and fix it up and ride it. And that's where I come from in the day with no money, man. Buying older beat up metric bikes, fixing them up, riding them and enjoying them. And that's how I learned how to work on bikes. So I dedicate this channel to that, to get folks out there enjoying their machines, learning how to work on them in the old school tradition that I learned, you know, because back in the day, dude, we didn't have cell phones when I started riding. You broke down on the side of the road, you was either walking a long way or you were pulling out your toolkit, fixing your bike and riding it home. And that's the kind of aesthetic that we run off of here. I want people to know how to do that kind of stuff. And that's what I try to teach them, the old school ways. And, you know, fix your bike up yourself. Buy a beat up metric bike for less than $1,000. Work on it yourself. Make it reliable. Ride it. It's going to break down. Learn how to fix it, you know, and learn the old school way. So that's what we're all about. Dude, if you like what I'm doing here, take that like and subscribe and the notification button. Treat it like it owes you money and smash it for me, will you? Because we try to upload a video every week here. I go live on the weekends when Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports doesn't have plans for me. You know, and we got another bike coming in here real soon. If you're watching this, James, I made my decision. I'm going to probably take your bike in this week. It actually was on this channel. Oh, man, the Facebook notification came up 3 years ago when I brought that bike in initially at the old shop where I didn't have room to work, little tiny 1-car garage before I bought this place. The Goldwing that I got in trade with a bunch of other bikes, and we made it run. What are we working on? JL speaks. Well, we're done at this point, but 3 different bikes. Today we focused on the Harley Davidson Ultra Classic that had a screw in the rear tire, and I was afraid that I was going to have to replace the tire or break the rim down and put a mushroom plug in. We extracted the screw and it doesn't leak, so we're not going to worry about it. We got lucky. The screw went in an angle and it only went into the tread. It didn't puncture the carcass of the tire, so it'll be fine. And a Evolution era Harley Super Glide that I wanted to open up the primary chain inspection window. We did a 3-hole oil change on it a couple of months ago, and I really don't ride the bike much. But it was in the back of my head. I checked the tension on the primary chain, and I felt like it was a little looser than it should have been, so I opened it back up just to check it because we're going to pull that bike out and put some miles on it in the next couple of weeks here just to do it. I don't ride that bike much, under 1,000 miles a year. I bought it because I love the bike. I think it's cool. I have plans for it, but it's kind of on the back burner. and we're going to take it out and enjoy it a little bit here. And I wanted to make sure that primary chain was good. So we just took some time this morning to do just that. Pull the plugs, check them, clean them, that type of thing. Oh man, 10 people. People keep rolling in here right at the end of this live. I'm cleaning up to be done for the day. But yeah, honestly, lately the channel has been all about this Sportster that we converted from 883 to 1200. And my other two bikes have kind of just sat. The Ultra Classic and the Super Glide. They've sat, so give this one just a quick little bit of love today. I know everything's in good shape, but that inner, that primary chain was bugging me. I wanted to make sure the tension was right. We did that, and I think we picked up the screw already and put it where it needed to be in the goddamn garbage can. But yeah, man, there was a screw in the rear tire of that bike. It went in at an angle, and it was in the tire about that far. But it didn't permeate, didn't penetrate the carcass. It went into the tread at an angle. I got super, super lucky. I think I already threw it in the garbage can. So what I did was, right there, mixed up some dishwashing liquid in one of the Mrs.'s spray bottles and sprayed around the screw. There was no bubbles. We got a few different kind of pliers and worked the screw out. Sprayed it down again. There was no leakage. The tire pressure was good. So this bike is now ready to rock and roll. Heard you talking about being a gearhead, and I entirely agree. It's important to know how to be handy. I love the chopper growing up, but only ever been on a two-stroke dirt bike and a moped. Hey, look, man. Two-stroke dirt bikes are the shit. Look, that's what I learned to ride a motorcycle on. A 1989 CR 125 Honda. My first dirt bike was a 1973 Zundap, if you've ever heard of that. Zundap GS 125. That's the first dirt bike I ever rode and ever worked on. I was 8. Okay. My stepdad, God love him, he tried really hard, but he wasn't a mechanical guy. He didn't know how to work on stuff at all. Like, he just didn't. It wasn't his thing. And we couldn't find parts for that bike, and it needed a lot of love. Ended up having to sell it because we couldn't get it running good enough. And my dad, he was pretty mechanical. He knew how to work on some stuff, but he's paralyzed from the chest down from an accident, quadriplegic, and he doesn't have dexterity. He can't move his fingers. He can only kind of barely grip stuff. TJ Brutal. Dude, we'll get into that in a minute. So my dad would sit there and tell me how to do something when it come to working on the bikes, but he couldn't take it from me and do it. So I had to struggle and learn the hard way. And many a weekends were spent in the backyard with my dad yelling at me on how to do something and me figuring it out. Yeah, there's a difference between me and TJ Brutal. Okay. No, I'm not talking shit. Great dude, great channel. He kind of rides the ebb and flow of YouTube. He does what he's supposed to do to grow a YouTube channel. If, like right now, everybody's yakking about the Harley Sportster, okay, because they're bringing the 883 back for the 2027 model year. TJ Brutal, who is notorious. Yes, I do believe in shop manuals. TJ Brutal is notorious for kind of talking bad about Harley and doing the Honda Shadow thing, because the Honda Shadow thing everybody watches, and he builds some custom exhausts. It's pretty cool. And he built a couple of bobbers out of Shadows. They're really cool. He doesn't do what I do. I do these videos live. I work on motorcycles live. If I make a mistake, you guys see it. And that puts a lot of pressure on me. I can't mess up. And if you're paying me to work on your bike, obviously, I can't mess up. It's got to be right. It's something that I've never seen another YouTuber other than Tony Angelo, do any live wrenching videos. And that's kind of what I feel sets me apart. If I don't make it in YouTube, I don't care. I'm still going to do this. My reason for doing this is to spread my knowledge of motorcycles to you guys. That's my mission statement, man. So if you dig that, dude, take that like and subscribe button, smash it. You know. But that's where we're at. And we're at the end of the manuals and YouTube most. Yeah, dude. Look, if you go back through and you watch my video on installing the 1200 top end, the SNS conversion kit on the Sportster, I refer to that. Absolutely use your manual. I watched a bunch of different. I know, man. I watched a bunch of different YouTube videos on how to install that top end, and there was a few things that it seemed like nobody else was touching on. And look, I'm better at working on stuff than I am with computers and editing and all that. So when I did my video, working on the bike, installing the top end, 80% of that was just in time lapse. Because there's somebody else who can narrate it and do it better than me. And I was limited on time because I had another bike coming in that I had to fix. So I had this much time to work on my bike. I did, however, stop. And a few little things that other guys didn't point out, I pointed out on what you needed to do. Just like, hey, they didn't touch this. And, you know, first bike was a Honda Shadow. 2025 to 2026 Street Bob. It looks cool. I don't like ride modes. I don't like electronics. It's loaded with it. That alone makes me not want to mess with it. Given the choice, I'd rather have the 2026 Super Glide. It looks cooler. Looks more retro. It still has ride modes and all that shit, but it looks cooler. And the exhaust, I'm sorry. Take your catalytic converters, throw them away. Like, make it sound like a Harley. And if you can't sell it in California because they're greeny, weeny tree huggers, so be it. The other 49 states will buy the bike. That's my opinion, but hey, I'm not a friggin' multi-billion-dollar motorcycle company, you know what I mean? Collecting them since I was a kid in the late 60s. Dr. Mark from Adriatic Mountain. Hey, right on. Cool. I'm in Pittsburgh. Well, I'm in a suburb of Pittsburgh. I'm like a 20-minute drive from downtown. So you're way far north of me, but you get it, man. Winners. Worked in manufacturing. I worked with car ECU and motorcycle ECUs. I'm pretty good with computers and tools. Right on, man. See, I'm the opposite. Can I figure out the ECU thing? Yes, I absolutely can. But I am the guy who would much rather have a carbureted bike, and when it comes time to tune it, one of these, and this is what I tune a bike with. It just, like, if anything, maybe one of these, because it's hard to get to the idle mixture screw on some bikes, so I have this little special tool to reach for it. What year would you recommend for a street bob? I'm a little guy, not into the big fairing bikes, prefer more chopper or bobbed out. Honestly, dude, any newer one. I mean, look, the newer ones are awesome. They do what they need to do. It's a personal thing. Like this 1995 Evolution era bike. That's my personal style. If the new street bob fits your style, dude, go buy it. They scream, they run. You're not gonna have to modify it. You know, the exhaust isn't going to work for me. It doesn't sound like a Harley. Give you a quick example. The audio is going to be terrible. Sorry about that. It is what it is. Hopefully the battery's not dead. Put the bike in neutral, dummy. Man, almost ended badly. I forgot I had the bike in 5th gear because we were adjusting the primary chain. Okay, that's neutral. Okay, that right there, that's why I don't like the modern street bob. To me, that's what a Harley should sound like. Pumps because my family was in the paving business. Same deal, dude. Same deal, dude. Same deal. If you can work on that kind of stuff, you can work on a motorcycle. You absolutely can. Flash and tune changes, tire changes. Then our career center teacher got fired from and arrested from stealing tools. Oh, dude, that sucks. Listen, man, my Votech teacher was inspirational in me working on bikes. I ended up being a truck driver. I initially went to Votech to be a machinist. I went through the apprenticeship program, did the 4-year night school. I started that early because I was making good grades in school and great grades in Votech. I ended up going to Votech because I was the fat kid that got picked on until I learned how to throw a punch and fight and beat the shit out of the kids that were picking on me. And then I was a troubled kid that they sent to Votech because I was getting in fights. Well, don't fuck with me. You know what I mean? But I did the machinist thing because I wanted to build race engines for motocross bikes. That's what I wanted to do for a living. And I ended up becoming a truck driver. And now this is my side gig. I discovered Harley Davidson and started riding them and loved them, fell in love. This is where I'm at. But dude, if you can work on equipment like that, you can absolutely work on a motorcycle. Chase that passion, dude. Try it. Buy yourself an older beat up bike. Something like, if you're that unsure of yourself, buy yourself a beater that runs and rides. Start messing with it. Make it better. You know, whatever it is, make it better. And your first one might come out a little wonky, but so what? You're not doing a huge investment, you know, and then you could get into doing this. That's what I did, you know. When I was younger, I did it because I had to. As I got older, this channel took a big, long break. This channel started out as a firearms channel. I mean, look, I don't leave the house without a pew-pew. You know, and this channel started out as a firearms channel. I quickly got bored with it. It was monetized back then, and I actually spent more money than I made doing what I was doing. Around 2016, we started doing some motorcycle content with an old 1979 Yamaha XS11. I had money to buy a brand new bike, but I bought that old XS because I kind of wanted to go back to my roots, right? And take an old bike that didn't run, bring it back to life, ride it, sell it, buy a nicer one, that kind of thing. And then I got out of making videos around 2018. I took a break and we came back strong in 2021. Lost monetization because I just didn't make videos for a couple of years. We switched. It used to be Kevin6154. I was the gun guy, and we changed it to Phoenix Motorsports. Instead of starting a new channel, we just started doing this, and this is where we're at. Like working on motorcycles I bought, ripping them down, complete valve jobs. I'm sending everything out, having it chrome. Not to be disrespectful, but I've turned shit into show bikes. Damn right, dude. That is super cool, man. Super cool. It's not my personal thing, you know, but it's badass, man. There's a guy across the river, friend of mine, Jay Bird, Lost Souls Customs with a Z. That's his channel. Check his channel out. You will really like the stuff he does. He's got a couple of choppers he's built that's totally badass. I'm a small-time guy that does this part-time. He keeps his lights on by doing it. He was in the Race of Gentlemen, I think it's called, with Billy Lane, 100-year-old Harley flatheads. He's got a 45 flathead that he built a custom aluminum frame for. Like, dude, he's doing some sick stuff. I would love to get into that, but right now I find this more like personally fulfilling to help people who couldn't afford a nice bike to get them up and riding and enjoying the bike life. Like that's really where my heart lies. That's where my passion is. And along the way, I make a few extra bucks to add to my fleet of bikes. And you know, nothing's free in life, you know. How am I doing? Pretty good, man. It's Sunday. Maintenance is done on a couple of bikes I wanted to do. Getting ready to end this live here and go up see what Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports wants to do. We might go for a ride. I don't know. Yeah. I ain't really into guns the way I used to be. I got some of them. You know, and I rock a little 380 the pocket pistol that I keep in my pocket. It does the absolute job when you need it to be done. It's better than a sharp stick or a screwdriver, you know what I'm saying? When you're in certain areas that you feel that you may need it, I keep it on me at all times or near me at all times. And a 9mm in the house if I need it. And, you know, all the other stuff that you may need if somebody should try to do you some harm. I have those tools here in the shop, and I have those tools here in the house if I need them. Message held for review. All right, what do we got here? Why would they hide that? Because you were talking about pew-pews. Crazy. All right, folks. I'm about done for today here. It's time to enjoy the rest of the day and see if Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports wants to go for a ride in the country or what we're going to do for the rest of the day. I will catch you guys later, man. A friend of mine introduced me to a guy in the movie industry, and he used to get bikes, stunt people. Oh, dude. Definitely. All right, man. Thanks again. If you like what I'm doing, smash that like and subscribe button. Until then, I'm going to go live the rest of my life. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me in the shop this Sunday morning. Catch you later, man.